some of the best British produce is under threat.
It's at the mercy of foreign invaders, market forces
and food fashion. Produce that has been around for centuries
could die out within a generation.
So together, we're on a mission
to save it.
We're going to be giving you the best tips how to find it, grow it and cook it.
And crucially, how to put sensational British produce
back on the food map.
I'm Michel Roux and I am passionate about bread. This is the kind of bread that I want you to be eating. It's proper artisan bread. It has heart and soul. Never ever buy another loaf of that white sponge. I strongly believe that for too long we've been sold bread that is lacking in nutrients and flavour. The time for change is now, before we lose the art of good baking forever. So in my campaign, I want to change the way you think about bread. From the wheat that makes your flour.
You shouldn't be allowed to call yourself a master baker until you've gone through every stage of the process.
I agree with you, yeah.
To the craft of baking an honest loaf.
This is amazing. This turns me on something, I tell you. This is you, and I can feel that. It's great.
I'll also be in the Revival Kitchen, showing you some great ways to get involved, including a fantastic alternative to a white sliced loaf.
So simple to make.
As well as some other mouth-watering recipes which bring out the best of true artisan bread.
If anything is going to make you join our bread revival, it should be this.
A massive 9 million loaves of bread are sold in the UK every day. But only 3% of those are baked by a traditional craft baker.
I consider myself a Frenchman, and the smell of a boulangerie makes me feel alive. Sadly, the art of baking in this country is under threat. More often than not, bread in this country is seen as a fast food. There is another way. This beautiful white bread, it's real bread cooked by professionals. I want the tables of Britain to enjoy this bread.
In Britain, 80% of all bread is made using the Chorley wood bread-making process, an industrialised method of baking bread that allows factories to churn out loaves on a vast scale, and nothing like the artisan bread that I want you to be eating.
Chris, tell me, I've heard a bit about the Chorley wood bread process, and as far as I can understand, it's actually cutting corners. It's making bread very, very quickly and therefore reducing the price. So is that about right?
Absolutely. It's about how can we get the cheapest loaf possible with the basic ingredients. So you basically whip it full of air, pump it full of carbon dioxide, and then you bake it off. And in the process, you have to add a load of additives to make sure it goes through the machine. So instead of adapting a machine to work with the dough, you adapt the dough to work with the machine.
It's wrong, isn't it?
And then it's baked off and start to finish in something like an hour.
That's crazy. That's crazy, because for me, a real loaf, I mean, it takes hours and hours of love to make it, you know, have that taste and the flavour and that beautiful crust, I mean, that you don't get on a loaf like that, on an industrial loaf.
Take these two things, OK, they look a bit different, but what's that? That's bread. Real bread. Flour, water, yeast, salt. What's that? What do you think has gone into that? So, let's have a look. We've got flour, water, yeast, salt. Fine, that's bread so far. OK, let's go on. Spirit vinegar, soya flour, emulsifier, mono and diacetyl tartaric esters of mono and diglycerides of fatty acids. Rapeseed oil, that makes it a bit softer, sunflower oil, palm oil. So what's that, 14 things as opposed to 4? Is this bread?
No. For me, no. Most definitely not.
Talking to Chris was fantastic because he is as passionate as I am about bread. And I was quite surprised. I mean, I knew there was a lot of additives in these white loaves, industrial loaves, but I didn't realise to what extent.
For my campaign for a revival of artisan bread to succeed, I'll need to convince the bread-making industry that there is an alternative to the Chorley wood loaf.
Hello, yes, it's Michel here.
I'm meeting Gordon Poulsen, the director of the Bakers Federation, the voice of the industrial bakers of Britain.
Morning, Gordon.
Morning.
Good to meet you.
And you?
My utopia, my dream is to have a artisan baker on every street corner, like we used to have, and like we have in the rest of Europe, in France especially, where I come from. And I feel that these mass bakers, by very definition, they are hindering that process.
I don't think we're hindering at all. I think all we're doing is responding to the consumer demand and the consumer need.
Why have the British got this infatuation with this spongy, white cotton wool bread?
I mean, I don't think we should criticise the consumer. The British consumer is the British consumer, and it gets the product, value product, that it requires. For good or bad, bread in the UK is the cheapest in Europe. It's meeting the consumer needs and the consumer demands.
At times I felt I was hitting a brick wall with Gordon, but I do agree on one thing with him, and that is that the only people that can change this are you, by demanding an artisan bread, or even cooking bread yourselves at home. So the first step on the road to revival is showing you how easy bread making can be.
For my first recipe, I'm going to prove to you how simple it is to make just an ordinary white loaf.
First, put the milk onto a gentle heat. Then slowly melt some butter before adding a tablespoonful of golden syrup.
The golden syrup is in there to give it just a touch of sweetness, but also it helps to give that lovely moist crumb. So whilst this is melting, we put our fresh yeast in our bowl. Every bread needs some form of leavening, and this yeast is the leaven. It's the life.
Pour the warm milk onto the yeast and stir until it's dissolved. We buy more white bread in Britain than any other variety.
I want to prove to you that it is possible to make a really delicious white loaf. That's why I'm using white flour.
Then add 2 pinches of salt to complete the dough.
And then we're going to leave it for a while so that all the moisture is absorbed in the flour. And that's it.
After just 5 minutes resting in a warm place, you can start to knead the dough.
I'm just keeping it in the bowl, and I'm not really working it very hard. I'm just stretching the gluten in there. And if it does stick to your hands a bit, you can just get a little bit of flour and rub that on your fingers, and your fingers come clean.
There are no shortcuts to making a great loaf of bread. So after the dough has been kneaded for around 10 minutes, leave it to rise for half an hour to give the yeast time to do its work.
And again, as soon as you take the cling film off, you can smell those yeasts working. It has a lovely aroma, beautiful aroma. And it's smooth, it's glistening, quite beautiful. So I then turn this out onto the board. I remember these smells, these aromas, as a child of waking up to freshly baked bread. I want every house in Britain to be baking, or at least supporting your local baker.
Form the dough into 2 balls, place them in a baking tin and allow to rise for a second time.
A bread that's only risen once and has been pushed through the whole process is bland, and it hasn't had a life.
A further 30 minutes in a warm place is all it should need.
Wow, that looks beautiful. It's got that lovely shape, beautiful sheen, and it's ready to go in the oven. First off, we need to slash the bread. So we take a very sharp knife and just go over there like that. And that will help the bread develop and open up. And into the oven. Now the oven is at 200 degrees C, and we do that for about 10 minutes, and that helps to really push and make the bread develop, and then we turn it down to about 180, and it should take 30 minutes to cook. 30 minutes to wait for heaven. Here we go. It looks beautiful, and the smell is great.
This is what I love about cooking bread. You never know exactly how a loaf will turn out.
This is beautiful, and it's white bread, but it actually has got a crust, so it's crunchy on the outside, and it's got that lovely, delicate texture on the inside. It's got the perfect crumb, and you can smell all the ingredients in there. That golden syrup gives it just a hint of sweetness, but it's also helping the yeast to grow and to give that lovely texture. Good bread needs butter. So simple to make, but the pleasure you get out of that is undescribable.
Just as bread baking has become industrialized, so has the farming of its chief ingredient, wheat. Our heritage wheat that may be higher in nutrients and protein has been sacrificed for high-yielding modern wheat. But I'm a perfectionist, and I only use the finest ingredients in my kitchen. So my revival journey continues in South Lee in Oxfordshire, where I'm going to be getting back to the roots of wheat.
Hi, John.
Hello, Michel.
Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
John, what are the fundamental differences between the wheat that's grown, the bulk wheat that's grown in this country, and your heritage wheat?
Well, I'd say modern wheat varieties are kind of drug-addicted, cosseted little plants that need fungicides and herbicides and pesticides, in order to produce these monstrous yields. But it doesn't necessarily produce good quality flour. Whereas my heritage wheats, they have very low input. You don't have to put any sprays. They outcompete weeds. They produce a really good quality flour. But the most striking thing that you'd first see is, of course, height. Modern wheat plants are, down to there, 1.5 feet, 2 foot tall, if that. And unless you have good weed control, they get swamped out by tall weeds. Whereas my heritage wheats, they can grow 6 foot tall. And they blow in the wind. They're very beautiful and colored. They look completely different from a modern wheat field.
I'm going to have to come back in the summer to see them. So I suppose growing it really is just the first step. And then we have to process it. And this is your old machine here.
This is the old threshing machine, that's right.
So before all these machines, it was literally done by hand. You would bash the top there to get the grains out.
It was
very hard
flail.
labour.
Very, very laborious. So you would bring it in from the field, fill up the barn, and then flail it out as and when you needed it. So the grain was always nice and fresh.
Because kept like this, it will keep for a long time. It's in its own little capsule there and it's protected.
Absolutely. And there are actually antifungal compounds in the husks around those grains.
This is part of the reason why bread, for me, has such a great history and a value.
Yeah, well, it's incredibly important because you can store it. It really is the staff of life. You can store vast quantities to feed people.
Right, I want to go at this. Whoa!
Michel, I think that you shouldn't be allowed to call yourself a master baker until you've gone through every stage of the process.
I agree with you, yeah.
The wheat is fed into the top of the thresher and produces straw for thatching and grain for John's artisan bread.
I'm really, really loving this. This is what it's all about. Back to nature.
I never imagined threshing wheat would be so exhausting, but I can't wait to taste the end product. And what will the thatchers think of John's heritage wheat loaves?
Right, guys, this is it. Moment of truth. All your hard work. And that's the result.
Fantastic. Right.
It looks great.
Yeah, doesn't it? Smells nice.
So this is with the wheat that you have grown. You guys have worked hard to put through that ancient machine.
Fantastic. Let's hope it's worthwhile, eh?
It's great to see the final product after a year of growing in the field. And
it tastes as if it's good for you.
There's something kind of like nice and rural and rustic about it. You know, being a thatcher, it's kind of sitting there with a loaf of bread and a lump of cheese, and you're kind of like happy man, you know.
I can relate to that. I mean, good bread, good cheese. You know, I'm happy. All I need now is a glass of wine.
I'd never eat it.
As much as I love John's bread, it's not suitable for my next recipe. In fact, I need the bread that I made earlier. And the recipe I'm going to cook is a duck pie. But instead of using pastry, I'm going to be using bread, just to show how versatile bread can be. This recipe, I think, is ideal. It can be made hours in advance and it can sit there in a warm oven and you just have to bring it to the table and I guarantee people will be ecstatic. It's one of these recipes that is a Roux household favourite. It's, in fact, one of my Christmas specials. Cut thick slices of bread and then trim off the crusts. These rectangular slabs will form the case of the pie and need to be thick to help it maintain its shape. This is a really wholesome dish, and a vital component is the sauce that will bind the flavours of the pie's filling. Start by sweating some shallots in duck fat, to which we add our port. Then add veal stock and let that reduce before turning your attention to the main ingredient. Now I make it with confit duck that's been cooked very, very slowly and for a long time in duck fat. I need to take the duck legs and the gizzards out of the fat. Then I need the basin, to which I shred the duck into. Shred it into little bite-sized pieces. So we then chop up these gizzards, and chop these up. So the gizzard is so tender and flavoursome. You get a real kick of duck. There we go. Wild mushrooms are a great complement for duck, so I'm going to fry some in some duck fat with garlic and fresh parsley. So whilst they're cooking, I can start dipping the bread. So basically just in and out of the duck fat. Not drenched, because otherwise it'll be too oily. And we're lining the whole of this pudding basin with these little soldiers of bread. Because there's a fair bit of duck fat in there and the bread, but as I said, I normally do this at Christmas time and it's Christmas. With the pudding case ready, mix together the duck, mushrooms and reduced sauce to create the sumptuous filling. Which goes into there. All of these flavours will melt beautifully into the bread base. Pack that in really tight. And what's left is to cover the top with the little bits of bread that are left over, so we dunk them again. There we go. Yeah. Cover the pie in foil and put in a medium oven for 45 minutes. Right, the pie must be cooked now. Wow, it smells lovely. Moment of truth. That is beautiful. I mean, this is just heavenly. It just goes to show how versatile, how great bread is. I like to put a little bit of sauce on the top, just the sauce that we had earlier. Right, I can't wait any longer. Oh gosh, look at that. Now you need to get a bit of the bread and the duck. Oh. The flavours are just so intense. The bread has soaked up all that fat and all the lovely duck and mushroom juices and become one. It's a little bit crispy on the outside, yet soft on the inside. It's fantastic. So here you have it, the duck bread pie made with my bread. In the 1950s, there were close to 30,000 local bakeries on our high streets. Today, there are fewer than 4,000.
I'm on my way to Hackney to meet a guy who is as passionate as I am about bread. He is bringing baking to the community. And if we are going to win this campaign, that is what we need to do.
Ben McKinnon has only been making bread for sale for just over a year, but already his bakery under a railway arch in Hackney, East London, has become a thriving business. I'm hoping that he will inspire you to support your local baker.
Right, Ben, I'm here for a reason, and that's to make bread. So let's do it.
OK. First thing, in the fridge here, we've got the sourdough starter.
The starter is the lifeblood of any good sourdough. It gives the bread texture and flavour. As a living leaven, if looked after properly, it can give life to bread across generations.
Yeah, this sourdough starter's got a bit of a story behind it, actually. Somebody came in to visit somebody in the kitchen. They said, oh, we use this culture which we were given from Lapland, and it's over 200 years old, and she brought some in for me.
That is unbelievable. From Lapland to Hackney.
Yeah.
And 200 years old.
It's been constantly fed. I mean, to keep a sourdough starter going, you have to feed it sort of about once a week at least, just with flour and water, and it kept in a cool place like the fridge.
For me, this is what baking is all about. I mean, this is a million miles away from Chorley Wood. It's great. Well, enough talk. Now's the time to go and make some. So come, let's go.
Let's do it.
Do you think that making bread is an art form?
I think it is. I think the whole process. I think one thing that I've really found making bread, and one of the reasons I think it's so good for other people to do it, is it kind of generates more creativity.
You've certainly got time to be creative, as this dough will not be ready for the oven for another 10 hours. So is it possible to marry art and business and still make a profit?
So how much do you sell your bread for?
So this bread I sell for £3.50 a loaf, which is about 800 grams when it's cooked.
Obviously, you're not doing this for a charity. You have to see a return on that.
Yeah, well, I've kind of jumped in. I'm just giving it as much of a go as I can, and so far, so good. I'm not, as far as I can see, I'm not losing money.
Ben's sourdough might be 3 times more expensive than a mass-produced loaf, but considering the time and effort involved, I think it's worth every penny.
Right.
The dough is placed in floured bannotones to mould the loaves ready for the oven.
Come on, darling.
Just have to tease it out.
Tease it out. Here she comes.
This is where the skill of the master baker is evident. Each loaf is crafted with care and attention.
You sell out of this stuff, don't you?
So, every day we sell out.
You obviously can't make enough of it, so there's a definite market for it.
Yeah, well, people want to eat good food, and they want to eat food that has been prepared without chemicals. I mean, there's only 4 ingredients in this. Well, 3 really, is salt, flour and water, and the wild yeasts and bacteria that are in there.
Like works of art, each loaf is given its own signature before going into the oven, where it bakes for just half an hour. Ben's 200-year-old starter has done its job and combined the ingredients to create something quite special.
Isn't that beautiful? I'll tell you, this is amazing. This turns me on something, I tell you.
Brilliant. I'm really happy to hear
the
that.
smell and this signature, your lovely signature here, it's personal, it's you. You know, it's not a machine, this is you. And I can feel that, it's great.
If Ben's story has touched you, why not take a course in bread making? Like this one in Nottinghamshire.
It gives me a lot of satisfaction to come on the course because we learn everything about bread production, from it growing in the field right through to it being baked and then sold on. So we're learning the whole journey of bread and being artisan bread producer in this country.
The students here have come from all walks of life. They've found the experience life-changing.
Bread does need a revival in this country. Anyone can learn to make bread. It's not difficult so long as you have the fundamental building blocks to begin with. You can do anything.
For my final recipe, I'm going to be using some of Ben's Hackney Wild bread and my bread as well. It's a diplomat pudding. It's
very, very close to my heart. It's a special recipe. It's the very first recipe that I learnt as a pastry apprentice in 1976. This is a French version of a bread and butter pudding, but with a difference. And what's great is that you can actually use bread that isn't the freshest, bread that's stale, that would otherwise end up in the bin. So to start off, we need to remove the crust. There we go.
You can use almost any combination of breads, as they'll all add flavour and texture. Slice them into cubes and scatter them on a baking tray.
So here we are with our bread, and we need to dust it a little bit with icing sugar. So here we go. And this is just to give it a lovely coating, a crunchy coating that will caramelise in the oven. So we're making sweet croutons, in effect.
While the croutons are crisping up, start to make the custard filling with egg, sugar and single cream.
I'd rather use single cream than double. Double cream tends to be a little bit too heavy, a bit too rich. I remember as a young apprentice, 16 years old, being shown how to make this. And I remember the very first day that I walked past the pastry shop after work and I saw my puddings good enough to be sold in the pastry shop, and that filled me with pride.
The secret ingredient for this dish is vanilla.
Vanilla is very expensive, but it's very worthwhile. I think you get so much flavour out of it, so much satisfaction. And I love the idea of putting a very expensive ingredient like vanilla with such a humble and cheap ingredient as bread.
Put a handful of raisins and sultanas in a pan. Cover them in water and put them onto a gentle heat to rehydrate. They'll plump up and become succulent. Then drain them and cover them in dark rum. These little packets of sweetness will be the bridging texture between the custard and the bread.
Rum and raisin and vanilla. I mean, is there a better combination? I don't think so. And there they are, lightly toasted. And that smells gorgeous. And smell the yeast, the wild yeast in there, and almost brioche-like smell from my bread. It's beautiful.
Then it's time to put the ingredients together. Into some buttered ramekins, layer the croutons and the raisins.
It's as simple as that. It really is very simple. We ladle them into here. Now, you can make them individual like this in individual ramekins, or you could put it in a terrine and then take slices off it. But I think these little individual moulds look really cute.
Unlike a classic British bread and butter pudding, don't put these straight in the oven. Instead, steam them in a bain-marie. Cover them with buttered foil and they're ready for the oven. On a medium heat, they'll take half an hour.
Right, I think these puddings must be ready by now. You can't take them out of the mould whilst they're still piping hot. You need to leave them to rest just for 5 or 10 minutes, because if you were to take them out of the mould now, they would crack and they wouldn't look nice.
While they cool, make an apricot glaze for the top of the puddings. Melt a large spoonful of jam in a dash of water until it turns into a sticky liquid.
The jam's nearly melted.
At last, it's time to reveal the diplomat puddings.
Wow. All it needs now is just a little brush of the apricot jam on top. I find that these are at their best when they're just warm. Not cold, definitely not fridge cold. Diplomat pudding, made with the best artisan bread you can find. Oh, this looks beautiful. It's totally, totally delicious. You can taste the bread, you can taste the egg and the rum, the vanilla. It's beautiful. I've been on an incredible journey and I've met some passionate people, people who are as passionate about bread as I'm passionate about food.
And that, to me, is heartwarming. That, to me, means that if we all join together on this crusade, we can definitely change bread in Britain. Now it's time for a couple of cooks who are as passionate about reviving British produce as I am.
We're the Hairy Bakers, and there's a fantastic vegetable that we're desperate to revive.
It's taken a passion over in recent years, it's even fallen out of fashion, and we know it's being seriously overlooked.
It's tasty, it's cheap, it's full of flavour. It's the great British cauliflower.
Yes, we'll love it.
Us Brits used to love our collies. Up until the early 1990s, they were a staple ingredient at dinner time.
But over the past decade, cauliflower sales have fallen by a staggering 35%, and farmers are struggling to make money from their crop.
So in our campaign to put it firmly back on our plates, we'll be meeting the people who are working tirelessly to produce this delicate vegetable.
Is that all right? Is that acceptable?
We'll have a bit more off the base here.
Yeah, hurry up. I'm going to get run over.
We'll be joining forces with another huge collie fan and top chef extraordinaire, Yotam Ottolenghi, to show you just how versatile the cauliflower can be.
Lots of dill.
Lots of dill. You never want to be shy with your herbs.
And in the Revival kitchen, we'll be serving up delicious recipes that show off this veg at its very best.
Look at that.
Including a unique cauliflower cheese that you've never had before.
That's Collylicious. Look at that.
Ooh.
Belters, huh?
Oh, hey, nice, man. Well done.
The Romanesque. It's kind of vegetable matter in like a crystalline form.
Oh, it's fantastic. Look, and then the good old snowball that we all know and love.
Aye, and look, even there's a purple one here. Who needs purple sprouting broccoli? We've got a purple sprouting cauliflower. There's one for everybody.
Oh, I love it. You know, my first experience of cauliflower was with my Aunt Hilda in Piccadilly. I used to pick it out. Oh, it was brilliant. What's yours?
You can pickle it. I think with me Sunday roast chicken, we used to have mashed potatoes, the chicken, the stuffing, and then we'd have cauliflower. It'd be mashed up with white pepper and butter.
Lovely.
And it's Sunday. It's Gene Chalice with the Two-Way Forces favourites on the radio.
Lovely.
Fabulous. But in the past year alone, sales have fallen by 5%. The poor old collie is being pushed off the heat and relegated to the back burner by its trendy cousin, the broccoli.
We're on a mission to restore the cauliflower to its rightful place on our dinner plates. But to understand the challenge we face, we need to get to the root of the problem.
Philip, where's it gone wrong with a good old cauliflower?
Well, it has gone wrong. Farmers who are now, instead of being paid 41% of the retail value of the cauliflower, are now only getting about 20%. So they're really struggling. And unfortunately, this idea that because green and colourful vegetables are considered to be more nutritious, the poor old pale cauliflower has suffered in comparison. Yet it's full of folic acid, it's full of vitamin B6. I mean, this is a product that is so damn good for you.
So what can we do, Philip?
Well, we need to revitalise people and get them more excited. I think it's also about consumers, if they can, buy from farm shops like this. You won't see something like this in a supermarket. They don't like these big ones, but they are fantastic. So there's a whole host of things that we need to do, but ultimately it means buy more cauliflower.
You heard it here first. Buy more collie.
So our first step on the road to revival is pretty obvious to us.
It's convincing you that cauliflower can taste fantastic.
And what better way to prove it than with our recipe for the perfect cauliflower cheese?
Look at this. We've even got a cheddar cheese-coloured cauliflower.
It's brilliant,
How
isn't it?
nice does that look on the plate? It's not cheddar cheese flavoured. What it is, it's full of carotene, like you get in carrots. So it's cauliflower you can see in the dark, but it looks great.
Which is handy.
Yes.
If you've got a power cut and you're eating cauliflower cheese.
I can't wait to get cooking. It's cauliflower cheese like you've never seen it before.
Right. Take the bottom off your collie. And you know how we normally take the core out? Run your knife through it like that. That also is brill.
It's great value, isn't it? I mean, that's about a pound's worth, 70 pence to a pound.
And it's going to feed, what, 3, 4 people? Like 2 in our house, like, you know what I mean.
So pop the florets into a big saucepan of boiling water and blanch them for about 5 minutes.
To give this dish some extra pizzazz, we're adding a crunchy topping of breadcrumbs. I've got some ciabatta, the staler the better. I'm just going to cut the crust off. You could use any crumbs you want, really. Panko breadcrumbs are good, the Japanese ones. The ones that don't really work are those golden orange ones that you can see from space. They're brilliant on a fish finger. I think cauliflower cheese, I mean, it would be like putting Audrey Hepburn in a cheap frock. It wouldn't be right.
It would be wrong.
Put it in a food processor. And lids. The best tip for a crunchy topping is dried breadcrumbs, so I'm popping them into a baking tray and toasting them in the oven for about 5 minutes.
Now, as I said earlier, we're making cauliflower cheese with a twist of Rooney. So first of all, we're going to put bacon in it.
Look at this. Streaky. Can it whack it?
Oh, smoky too.
Slice the bacon into thin strips.
What people get wrong at home, and you do all the time, because I've seen you, is you need to put some heat in the pan before you cook anything. So make sure the pan's up at temperature. That's not quite there yet.
But the collies are, so drain them off. Oh, look at that. That is just in so cooked. It's just giving a little bit. Still got a bit of life.
But back to me bacon. Just fry it until it's coloured but not crisp.
Right, my next job is the sauce. Start by melting butter into a saucepan and then beating the flour.
Look, see, brassicas. There we are. I like a good brassica. That's why we're cooking them. That's what cauliflowers are, brassicas, you see.
Brassicas. But meanwhile, check me crumbs. Thank you.
Hold on, mate. Move your legs, ski. Oh, they're lovely, them, man. Look at that. Dry, lovely. Now, no colour on them, no, look.
No.
Just nice and dry.
Start adding milk to the sauce. About half a pint will do. This will make it become quite thick. It is thick, I know it's thick, but once it's baked with the cauliflower will give out some more liquid. We don't want it running. We've all had cauliflower cheese that's like swimming in watery scum. Not ours.
What makes our recipe so special are the added ingredients which enhance the flavour. The next one is mushrooms.
Try and use mushrooms like light brown chestnut mushrooms or something like that with a little bit of colour, because if you use those white button ones, it just looks pretty monochrome and it doesn't look appetising. And don't forget, you always eat with your eyes first.
To the sauce, I've added some grated Gruyere cheese, and don't be mean with it. It's more like a fondue, really.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, we want this dish to be a celebration of the cauliflower. For too long, we feel it's been becoming the poor bridesmaid to broccoli, and it's not right.
No, it's not right.
Look at that. It's like a pot of anaglypta.
Oh, that's lovely, that, Lou.
Right.
I think that'll do,
I
mate.
think so.
Do you know what I mean?
So toss the mushrooms into the sauce. So, and the bacon bits.
In you go.
Lovely, and they've got a lovely crunch to them. Grate on a sprinkling of nutmeg. Mix the ciabatta crumbs with Parmesan cheese and spread over the top. Now, I'm just going to put this into kind of a moderate oven, about 180 degrees Celsius, for 10 to 15 minutes to warm through.
Oh, yes, man.
Yeah.
Look at that. Lovely.
One big Parmesan crisp on the top.
And that's what you get, a lovely crunch. You get the soft, cauliflower and the cheese. And
we're just going to serve this with some crusty bread, a little bit of green salad. But, you know, it's not unknown to enjoy this with chips.
Steady on, Myers.
Shall we decimate the creation?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, man. There we have it.
The perfect cauliflower cheese.
With mushrooms and bacon.
Ooh.
Lovely. There's a smoke of the bacon through it. Oh.
Cauliflower texture's just right.
Oh, yeah. Lovely.
That's Caulilicious.
Facts you didn't know about cauliflower. In the past 10 years, cauliflower production has dropped off by over a third because farmers have been forced to move into more profitable crops.
That means that farms growing this treasure are few and far between. But the undisputed capital of the cauliflower growing kingdom is right here in Lincolnshire.
Look, man, look! This family-run farm near Boston is one of the largest brassica producers in the UK, and they have just under 3,000 acres given over to growing cauliflower. It's my idea of heaven, man. So, George, what are the problems in growing and selling cauliflowers?
Well, growing cauliflower, to start with, you need to grow cauliflower on the best quality land. That's why we're here in Lincolnshire on this Grade 1 silt land. Selling cauliflower, very difficult. When it's warm, cauliflower grows quickly. Demand for cauliflower is low. So you have an oversupply. When it's cold in the winter, cauliflower stops growing because it's very cold, and everybody wants cauliflower with their roast beef.
Yes.
And demand increases probably double to what supply we've got. So it's very difficult to get the balance of supply.
My perception, and I'm sure lots of people at home's perception of cauliflower, is that it is a winter vegetable. Actually, what you're saying is, it's not.
Absolutely not. We grow cauliflower all year round. In the summer, it's a lot more delicate product because it grows that much quicker.
Yes.
That creates its own problems because it is a flower, very tender, and you can bruise the cauliflower very easily. Each cauliflower grows at its own pace, so you can't harvest the whole crop in one pass. These guys will pass through the crop probably 3-4 times to harvest the crop.
Right. There's a lot of gubbins going on for what is a cauliflower, isn't there?
Yeah,
You know?
in the winter, autumn time, you need a lot of outside wrapper leaf to protect the curd, protect it from the rain, protect it from the frost.
The curd is
the white.
Is the white.
Yeah,
right. Well,
the white.
Show us how to harvest this.
So, chop the stalk off, trim the leaf off, the outside leaf, so you've got a nice clean base.
Right.
Mind your fingers. One cut across the top.
What? Straight from the field. Yes, that is
Anything
fantastic.
better than that.
You've got to keep ahead of the game. And the cauliflower machine stops for no man, time not tide. So, George, like that.
That's it.
And then just trim the
outside leaves off. That's it. Bit more. That's
It's pretty labour intensive, this, isn't it?
Dangerous work.
You're not wrong. What happens now?
Straight across the top. That's it.
Oh, good. Is that all right? Is that acceptable?
We'll have a bit more off the base here.
Yeah. Hurry up, I'm about to get run over.
It's all very well kingy over there, playing about with tractors and stuff, but this is serious business. The calamitous cauliflower is in desperate need of an image revamp. Hey, hello, Philip.
Hi, David. Good
Quite
morning.
picked a day for it.
Hi, a real cold Lincolnshire morning.
Hi. And the chairman of the Brassica Growers Association is trying to introduce more visually pleasing varieties onto the market, but it's an uphill struggle. This is a favourite of mine, the Romanescu.
Yeah. Such a pity that we can't get this one off the starting blocks. Very, very crisp and nutty in its flavour,
Yeah.
Dave, and yet people seem to see it as space age and tends to stay on the shelf.
Yeah. It's nice in salads as well. Little broken bits in salads. It's lovely.
Yeah.
We need to eat more cauliflower, don't we?
We do. We need to get the message across, even to many consumers, many young consumers coming into buying for the first time, that they're actually here and such a good ingredient.
Yeah. How many cauliflowers are grown a year in Lincolnshire?
We're about 60% of the total acreage, which is around about 12,000 acres across the country. That's about 100 million cauliflowers. Sounds a lot, but it's less actually than 2 cauliflowers per person. And if you take wastage into account per year, it's very, very low consumption. We don't actually get into 60% of all households.
Unbelievable! 6 out of 10 British families don't even buy collies, but that's exactly why we think they need to be revived. What I love about it is it's sustainable, It's a crop that grows 365 days a year, so we never have to import cauliflowers. And it's tasty. We need to eat more, enjoy them.
Yeah.
Oh, by heck, it was cold in that field.
Wasn't it?
Aye.
Yeah, I nearly had my fingers off cutting them with a machete. Did you see that, dude?
Yeah.
This dish is our homage to Lincolnshire. We have seared scallops.
With a cauliflower and cheese puree and a salad. It's a potion.
Yeah, it is. Sure, crack on.
Yes, funny enough, the first ingredient is a cauliflower. I think this dish demonstrates the versatility of cauliflower.
It also demonstrates perfectly well that cauliflower, you can be fine dining with it.
Oh, yes.
We're dead posh as too.
So we're going to boil these beautiful florets for about 10 minutes until they're tender.
Now, listen, what we're going to do is we're going to take nice, thin pieces of pancetta. Look at that. Look, you can see through it. Ooh. And then we're just going to render the fat out of that pancetta. And what we want is, we want it crispy.
Now the salad dressing. This one's a little beauty. First, we take the olive oil, about 2 tablespoons. 1, 2. About 1 tablespoon of white wine vinegar. The zest of an orange. Add a splash of squeezed orange juice and a blob of whole grain mustard. It's one of those salads that make you go, ooh, it is summery and fresh and lovely.
Things that make you go, Hey, listen, dude, do us a favour, man, will you? Can you pass us a knife?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Keith. Now, look, top tip.
Don't Morris dance.
No, don't. Cut all this lovely bacon when it's still slightly warm, because it cuts easier and it won't shatter. Look at that, lovely. Bits of pancetta, lovely.
Now close your eyes and think of summer.
Yes. Now, this is the coral on a scallop. I like it, but for presentation purposes only, we're going to take it off. You just get a hold of it, support the flesh, and then there's a little membrane, and you just pull it away like that.
Yep, that's ready.
Nice, delicate flesh, isn't it?
Yes. We'll just dry you off. Then pop them in a blender along with some double cream and Blitz. Ooh, look at that, eh? Now, pop that in a saucepan. And because it's a homage to Lincolnshire, we're using a cheese called Lincolnshire Poacher.
And it's great because it's tangy, it's
quite strong.
Strong flavour.
Well, believe me, the scallops can take the flavour. I've got a piping bag. I'm going to load it. Would you?
I would.
Now, this puree is scalding hot. I don't think it's going to melt this plastic bag, do you?
No, it'll be fine. Oh, look at that, man. What a piping bag full of loveliness that is.
So, scallops into the frying pan, and you really do have to use your fingers for this.
And you do the scallops in a clockwise direction. So you know when you turn them, you do them in the same order, so some don't get cooked more than others.
You see?
Right, I'm going to start now.
Go on,
my piping. Cut the end off your bag. Start there. 1, 2, 3, 5 little blobs and a few little mistakes. Right, you fix that.
Oh, man.
Some little pancetta. Now, these are so crispy.
Right, now, I've turned them over. Now what we need to do, put lime. Yeah, put the lime all over the scallop. Loads of lime juice. Get the pulp in. And what happens is that scallops go...
You seem to suck it in.
The lime just counters the sweetness of the scallop slightly, brings it a savoury note, and it just tastes amazing.
Right, thank you.
There we have it.
There we have it.
Seared scallops.
With a cauliflower and Lincolnshire Poacher puree, with a salad dressed with orange juice, orange zest, and whole grain mustard. Thank you. Right.
Fantastic.
That's lovely.
earthy note with the cauliflower and the Lincolnshire poacher puree. Fabulous bacon, salty note, crisp texture, and then you've got the sweetness of the scallop on the top with a fishy thing going on. Oh, man.
It's wonderful, isn't it? Even in something that's quite fine like this, with cauliflower in the engine rooms, you know you're safe. It goes with everything.
As we've already discovered, cauliflower is in desperate need of a makeover.
Its image has been tarnished by overcooked school dinners and a misconception that it's not very healthy. Thing is, people don't appreciate the true potential of the cauliflower.
No, dude, we need to broaden the horizon of the culinary wonder that is the cauliflower.
So we're revving up a gear for the final stage of our revival. We're taking our campaign to the streets of Sleaford to blast away those attitudes.
And helping us on our mission are two people who are also championing the cause of the cauliflower.
All around the Middle East, people look at cauliflower as something you can do quite a lot with. So they sort of load it up with flavors. We fry it, we pickle it, we eat it raw in very, very sort of flavoursome salads.
Renowned chef and writer Yotam Ottolenghi has come up from London especially to cook his char-grilled cauliflower salad and to convince the public that there's more to enjoy in collies than just boiling them.
So a nice hot griddle pan. We've got salt, pepper and olive oil on that cauliflower, yeah?
And the hotter the griddle is, the better, because I really want to burn it. You want to bring flavors and you want to bring this sort of smokiness to the cauliflower. So I'm going to try to get some colour. You can see I'm starting getting it.
Yeah, starting to, all of those lovely sugars. Oh, look at that, lovely.
Now, this is a lady who's as passionate about cauliflower as we are.
I am indeed, yes.
Hey. Lecturer in food science Linda McWatt is also a huge cauliflower fan. She thinks that one of the best parts of the collie is the middle bit, the core, but most of us throw this bit away. So together with the University of Lincoln, she's working on ways to revitalise this underused part. So you're making soup from this?
We are making soup from that because that's where all the flavour is. The core's got all the same vitamins and minerals and it's full of fibre, and at the moment that gets thrown in the dustbin. From one processor alone, they're throwing away 3.5 tonnes of that a day.
3.5 tonnes?
Yeah.
It's absolutely delicious.
It is, yeah.
Cauliflower makes great soup.
It does, yeah.
So everything goes into this big pot, and now I'm going to add my tomatoes and everything while the cauliflower is still hot.
Still hot, really hot.
And then I'm adding a vinaigrette with garlic, mustard, with capers. And look how beautiful it looks. Dill.
So that's a lot. Big flavours, lots of dill.
Lots of dill. You never want to be shy with your herbs.
No, never.
Here you go, try this. Now, mind out, it is blisteringly hot. Let me know what you think. Do you like it?
Yeah, gorgeous.
Now, see what you think of that.
Thank you. Nice, flowy.
Do you like it? Yes.
Well, you just need to stick your hand in there and grab a piece of cauliflower. How does it compare to cauliflower cheese?
Superb. That's lovely.
Nice.
Actually quite, yeah. Very nice.
Yeah?
Very
You
nice.
see? You see?
Everybody has been so enthusiastic, and I think they're ready to come off their cauliflower cheese and try something new.
I think they're probably off.
What do you think of that? So there you have it. Our taste trials have been a resounding success.
And have proved to us that if cooked with more imagination, people are ready to have cauliflower back on their dinner plates.
Cauliflower is truly a global vegetable. In fact, it was the British who took cauliflower to India. And did you know it was a Cornish variety of cauliflower, to be specific?
I didn't know, but I do now.
So to show off its true versatility, we're now going to make a spinach, potato and cauliflower dish known as sagaloo
with roasted gobi curry.
This is a wonderful cauliflower dish. And normally you just do it with good old-fashioned white cauliflower, but the Romanesque cauliflower, look at it.
You did, man. It's a wonder, isn't it? Fabulous, fabulous flavour with this, and this is what we're going to use as well. Little bit of a mix.
You want quite small florets for this. It's become quite fashionable recently, to roast cauliflower. And indeed, it works absolutely brilliantly.
And it's a lovely texture as well. And just something happens when you roast it. It just intensifies the flavour somehow. It's lovely.
What little dinky-dordy florets. Right, the roasting tin. Mr. Cauliflower goes in there. Mr. Snowball with Mr. Romanescu. Hello, how do you do?
Happy days. Coat the collies with oil and season.
Lots of pepper. And put that in the oven, about 180 degrees, for about 15 minutes. Just keep an eye on it, just till it starts to catch and turn. We start now to make the curry. You can use ghee or vegetable oil for this. Don't use olive oil, it kind of doesn't work with curry. No, what's wrong? To that, add a finely chopped onion. Over to you, Lord of the Fiery Furnace.
Right.
And that just needs to sweat till it's translucent. We don't want caramelised burger van onions.
No, we don't want any colour on them at all.
Whatever you do, don't burger it up.
No, that'd be wrong.
Now, this is where the smells start to go up, and this is where the neighbours get jealous.
And the reason? Because we're grating in a thumb-sized piece of ginger.
Now, one of the best ingredients in Indian cooking, black mustard seeds.
Oh, no.
Don't get confused with yellow mustard seeds. They are used for making mustard that you spread on your sausages. It will taste rank. Just put the black ones in and pop them.
The reason that you want them to pop is when the heat pushes through them, they release all their flavour and all their lovely oils. But you need to let them pop first, yeah?
Next, add curry leaves, fenugreek seeds, and chilli powder. And some turmeric, or haldi as it's known.
Oh, look at that, look at the colours in that, that's lovely.
It's like a sunset over the Indian Ocean.
Oh, you're not wrong.
To the onions and spices, add uncooked diced potatoes.
Now make sure at this point that all of those potatoes get nicely covered. Look at that.
Right, now we start to put the other stuff in.
Tommy Arters.
You think 4, 5?
4 will do, eh?
Yeah.
In they go, followed by a couple of whole green chilies. Stir well and season.
Oh, lovely. A splash of water. Just a bit. Don't overdo the water. Hey. See, look at that.
Oh, that's all coming off now.
Add some spinach, pop the lid on and simmer for about 20 minutes.
Here we go. Oh, yeah. Cook through.
Lovely.
Right. I'll do the rice.
I'll get the collie out. Oh, yes. Look at that.
That's what you want. It's just started to speckle up, hasn't it?
Look at that. Oh, lovely.
Oh.
So we're going to add that, and then we stir it in. Nice and gentle, because you want to maintain the potato and all of those lovely flavours.
It's nice using the Romanescu as well, isn't it?
Oh, it's brilliant.
It makes an event out of it.
I so love this recipe.
Finish it off with some fresh lemon juice. It really makes a heck of a difference.
Superb.
It kind of brings the whole thing to life. And don't be shy with it.
Look at that collie, sitting proud. Oh, proud and loud, that's what we want collie to be.
And there we have it. The Hairy Bikers, Sagaloo with...
Gobi.
Roasted.
Yeah.
It's a lovely dish, isn't it?
Oh, it's brilliant, man. It's brilliant. How versatile is a cauliflower?
Well, all those spices, you can throw anything at a cauliflower and it still comes back laughing.
It does, because it's a great veggie. It's brilliant.
And I think on this journey, I found that, well, even more than ever, I'm more passionate about cauliflower and I'm even more concerned for its future. We must support the growers.
People at home, the power's with us.
You need to eat more cauliflower to enjoy it, love it, eat it, revive it. Beautiful.